If you're struggling with writing your e-portfolio, I think you've came across the right place. Hello everyone. I know you guys are struggling like me in writing an e-portfolio. So today I'm going to help you on how to structure your e-portfolio and what things to avoid and what things to include. So let's start by what is an e-portfolio. E-portfolio is simply a way to communicate with others by giving a brief explanation simply about yourself and an explanation about your 12 years of schooling. So, first, there are some rules to abide with when writing your e-portfolio. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the structure of the e-portfolio. I divided the e-portfolio to 7 different parts, and I know it sounds a lot, but it's way much simpler than it sounds. So, grab something to note down all the necessary things you want to ace your e-portfolio. The first part of your e-portfolio is the welcome page. And there you write a summarized statement about yourself and what do visitors to your website expect to see in your e-portfolio. Now, of course, speaking of design, you could obviously include a photo of yours, but relevancy is necessary because the majority of the visitors to your website came across your e-portfolio for formal purposes. And make sure that you write in a semi-formal manner. Do not use colloquial terminologies because you are not writing to your friend or someone close to you. The second part of your e-portfolio is your profile, and in there you talk about yourself briefly and you state your objectives as an undergraduate linked with your futuristic goals. And feel free, of course, to include a photo of yourself, and you could design the website, but do not over-design it. Part of your e-portfolio is actually my favorite. It's called the resume. And in there you include a background about your education, the 12-year schooling, and the qualifications that you have acclaimed across this long journey. And you could also feel free to attach a PDF file of your CV, for example, which I did. And in that, as you can see right now on the screen, it's a CV where I included my interests, my education and qualifications, and my achievements, and everything I've tried to accomplish in the past 12 years of my life. The fourth part of your e-portfolio is your projects. So ask yourself this question: what did you do in 12 years of schooling? Such a long journey. So you could include your projects and work samples that you attempted to exhibit during these years, and my advice to you is to focus on your recent years, like from grade 7 and onwards. You'll also be needing something referred to as artifacts. It is where you collect your documents, accomplishments, and certificates throughout the 12 years of school, and you need to include it in your e-portfolio, definitely. Representation is something really vital, and the way it is represented is really also significant because the simpler it is, the easier it is to the eye to digest information. The fifth part of your e-portfolio is your awards and honors, and I think it's very obvious what you need to include. You will be including all of your awards and honors that you collected in the 12 years of school. And you could also attach a certificate, but I would honestly suggest that you include an attached image from your LMS, which is available in the gallery or in the school website, to prove that you've taken part in such an event in school. In addition, you need to include volunteering. So volunteering basically is part of your e-portfolio, and if you did so volunteer, make sure that you include it. And if you did not, then no need to panic because it's not really necessary. But if you have the chance to volunteer, then do not hesitate and update your e-portfolio as soon as possible and include it, because anything you've accomplished would actually help you to gain credits. Part of your e-portfolio is your recommendation letters and professional feedbacks from your school. So if you did grab them from the academic director office, then make sure that you include them. Or if you do not include them, or if you don't feel like sharing them on your ePortfolio website, you could include a part as a reference where you would add your contact details, which is an email is advisable for further information regarding your recommendation letters or certificates or anything about the ePortfolio that you get asked for. All of you guys are wondering, how are you supposed to write your ePortfolio? You just need to evaluate and analyze the information and then plan what you need to write as follows. A tip from me to you is to avoid prolonged paragraphs because you need to make sure that the reader is interested. And obviously, we all know we really find long paragraphs really boring. So keep it simple and include key points of the major details that you think are significant. Obviously, you're wondering for guidance, and yeah, I didn't forget about that. So here are some tips from me to avoid common mistakes that actually most of us do, including me, in writing our ePortfolio. Tip number one is you do not really need to show all of your work. You do not really need to include each and every single detail, but you should keep major details posted and the minorities you could keep them up for reference. The second tip is, and my other tip for you is you do not really need to over-design your ePortfolio. You need to keep it simple, okay? Simple, simple, simple. Because the more simpler it is, it will be easier for the reader to analyze the information and it will be eye-catchy too. So you do not really need to worry about the design, rather you need to worry about the content of your ePortfolio. Which I find really the most important tip. Do not use complicated language, but still not really a vague style. You do not really, you're communicating with people through your ePortfolio, and you do not need to include complicated English because you do not share similar standards of your English level of proficiency with others. So you need to keep it simple, and you should also avoid extensive phrases. Like, instead of saying at this point of time, you could literally replace it with just one word, which is now. And again, simplicity is the key to a professional ePortfolio and even a CV resume. Last tip to you is don't just show your end product. Feel free to explain briefly how you achieved such a goal or accomplishment or an award. And you can also include some work samples, certificates, and images. But again, keep it simple as possible and stick to the other tips that I stated earlier in this video. Simplicity is the key, as I state again. And remember, there are no specific rules to make an ePortfolio. Make sure that you stick to each and everything I stated in this video and make it compelling. And the last part of this video is, of course, you guys are wondering on how can I make one. So my tips to you is, as you can see, you could use a WordPress or Google Sites, or even you could use a Word document and other platforms that I might not be aware of. And make sure that your ePortfolio will include the main page, which is the welcome page, and each page with its headline and subtitles if you would like so, and the ending as well. And thank you for watching, and if you have any inquiries, feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you and have a nice day.